everybody, welcome to Christy Dawn's Cooking, and today I'm going to share with you homemade cinnamon rolls. It would not be Christmas morning around here if we woke up and these were not waiting for us. So I'm excited to share these with you, so stay tuned. I'll show you exactly how I make these. So for these delicious cinnamon rolls, you need the following: milk, baking soda, sugar, salt, baking powder, vegetable oil, flour, 5 sticks of butter, yeast, ground cinnamon, maple extract, half of a cup of hot coffee, and confectioner sugar. So I'm going to get everything set up and show you exactly how we make these amazing cinnamon rolls. So to make the dough for the cinnamon rolls, we're going to need a big pot. And I love this pot. As you can see, it's had a lot of love over the years, and it just seems to be getting it better every time I use this. So we want to start with 1 quart of whole milk into the large pot, and that's 4 cups of whole milk, along with 1 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 cup of sugar. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the stove top and get it cooking on like a medium heat. And I don't want it to boil. I just want to bring it up to just below a boil. So if you start to see little bubbles, you know that it's ready. So when that's done, I will come back and show you what we do next. So the milk, oil, and sugar mixture came up to just under a boil. I started to see little bubbles popping up here and there. So I went ahead and shut it off, brought it over to the island onto a hot pad, and I was letting it cool. When I first took its temperature, it was about 200 degrees. That is way too hot for the yeast. So we want to get this down to anywhere between 120 and 130. Yeast likes it right there. So right now I'm measuring it, and we are at, still going up a little bit. Okay, we are stopping right there. It's like 125, right around there, so that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 packets of yeast in. That's those little envelopes. If you don't have that, if you just have bulk yeast like I do, that is 4.5 teaspoons. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle that in all over the top. And the yeast is happy with the sugar. And we're going to let this sit here for a minute. Sprinkle it all over. I'm going to go ahead and try and get you guys in closer. You can see what's going on here. Oh. Okay. So we're going to sit there for a minute. I'm just going to stay with you guys. So you can see it's starting to bubble. It's looking good. Okay, so while that's going, I wanted to share with you that I went ahead and measured out 8 cups of all-purpose flour. Now I used a dry measure cup for the 8 cups, but this is actually a liquid measuring container. So if I were to look at this, this is showing actually 9 cups. So it shows the difference between a liquid measuring, piece of equipment versus the dry. So make sure you're always using dry cups, measuring cups for when you're measuring things out. So as you can see, I can start to smell it now. The yeast is starting to activate. I love that smell. It's going to be a little bit longer here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the 8 cups of sugar. 8 cups of flour into this. And I'm going to make sure that it's mixed thoroughly. And then I'm going to put a clean cloth over it and let it set in a warm area for about an hour. Okay, and I'll bring you back when that's all done. So, all right, that's been about a minute. So we go ahead now and get the 8 cups of flour in here. Go ahead and stir this up I might need to get a stronger spoon. This makes a lot of cinnamon rolls. So these are actually going to go to some dear friends of mine that have been so sweet and supportive with my new YouTube channel, and they've been showering me with gifts. So if you did that, you're getting some of these. So sweet. I have the best friends. Oh, they're just so wonderful. All right, it's gonna look lumpy, okay? It's gonna look almost like pancake. Pancake batter. Okay. All right. Go ahead and get all this off, because we don't want to waste any of it. Let me use this bowl to help scrape. All right. There we go. I'm going to show you what this looks like. All right, it's going to go on top of my stove for about an hour. I'm going to put a clean cloth over it, and I'll bring you back when that's done. So the dough's been resting for an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it over here and show you. Ooh, look. It's doubled in size. So now what we need to do, we need to go ahead and add the sugar, my goodness, the salt, baking powder, and the baking soda. So in here I have 1 scant teaspoon of baking soda, 1 heaping teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 heaping tablespoon of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And then 1 more cup of flour. That's going in as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed up. Now at this point, the dough can be used immediately. We can go ahead and roll it out and start making the cinnamon rolls, but it actually does better if we wait an hour. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and give this at least an hour in the refrigerator. You can actually let this rest for up to 3 days. So this is a good thing to do if you want to do like the day before, and then the next morning get up and roll this out and make the cinnamon rolls. But I'm just going to go ahead. Well, we'll see how I'm feeling. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the fridge for now. I'm going to wrap some gifts. So if my energy level is still up, I'm going to go ahead and get these going. If not, we'll be back tomorrow. So I'll let you know what I decide. So when this is done resting again, or chilling I should say, an hour up to 3 days, I'll bring you back and show you how we go ahead and we start making these cinnamon rolls. So good morning, everybody. So yeah, I petered out of steam last night, so I thought let's go ahead and do this morning. So the dough was in the refrigerator overnight, and like I said, you can refrigerate this up to 3 days, so it's no problem whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and just take half of it out, and I have gone ahead and floured my work area right here. So I'm going to get half of this out, and it is easier to work with if it's been chilled, so it kind of works in your favor to let it sit overnight or to do other things while this sits. So here's about half of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just knead it a little bit just to get a little smooth. Okay, move this out of the way, put the saran wrap back on it because this is going to be the second roll. Okay. All right, this looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and try and shape it into a rectangle the best that I can, because we want this to be very thin and be about 30 inches by 10 inches. So it's going to take some muscles. It's going to take some patience. But we will get it done. Make sure both sides are well floured. This is where this French rolling pin comes in handy because it is nice and long. So I'm going to roll this out. To 10 inches by 30 inches, or as close as we can get it. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to continue on with this. This is pretty boring. You all know what to do. And then I will bring you back when it's approximately 30 inches by 10 inches. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and rolled this out. It took me a few minutes, but I got it to as close as I could for 10 inches by 30. So now what we're going to do, this is the fun part. I have 3/4 of a cup of melted butter, which is 1.5 sticks. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour this on here. Now what we are looking for, we're looking for ooey and gooey. Okay. So it's going to get messy, but that's what makes these so good. I'm going to push this up here a little bit so I don't have a butter waterfall. Okay, so there, 3/4 of a stick of 3/4 of a cup, not 3/4 of a stick of melted butter, and we're going to brush this all over. And I want to leave a little bit of a gap here on the bottom so that we can seal the edges. Now the dough is still a little bit cold from being chilled, which works out beautifully because the butter is going to start to solidify, which is great because it makes it a lot easier when we're rolling these up. Started making cinnamon buns maybe about 8-9 years ago, and I watched Ree Drummond and the Pioneer Woman on Food Network make these, and I thought, oh, I could do that. So I tried it, and it was a huge hit with my family. So, okay, this looks great. Look at that. Oh, like I said, we're going for ooey and gooey. So we want it to have a lot of butter. Now, we need 1 cup of sugar sprinkled on all of this as well. I got my sugar bowl. My sugar canister, I should say. And this is 3/4 of a cup. So there's a little clump. Once again, we're going to try and leave a little bit of an edge, like about 1/2 inch of an edge, that we can seal it. Okay, that was 3/4, so I'm going to get about another 1/3 here. Just approximate, doesn't have to be exact. Okay, now we need cinnamon, and it's not an amount. There's no, on the recipe it just says plenty of cinnamon. So I like it to be very rich with cinnamon. So I'm going to do a nice thick layer. This has become our Christmas morning tradition. We'll have these, and then we'll also have my mother's spinach sausage quiche, and I will link that up above. If you all haven't seen that recipe, try that. That is so good for Christmas morning. And you can make it the night before and then just, bake it the next day. When you get up and you're opening gifts, you can be baking while you're doing that. Okay. This is looking good. We're all coming together. See what I mean when I said a thick layer of cinnamon? See any white spots? Okay, that looks great. So now we're going to roll these up. And you must start away from you. So you want to go ahead and start at the far end. Okay, do a nice tight roll. And this just takes some patience. Just go back and forth. Make sure it's nice and tight. We're going to trim off the ends, so it doesn't matter if the ends don't look as pretty. Okay, go back and forth. Like a typewriter. My kids will say, "What's a typewriter?" If you spring a leak, if there's a hole, no worries. Just keep rolling. Hope y'all are having a great day. For all my Christian friends, I know you're probably super busy getting ready for the holiday. So my husband works for UPS. They have been so busy this year with COVID and everything. A lot of people have been ordering online. They've been working hard for everybody. Okay, so I'm getting to the end here. So you'll see that some are thicker than others, and that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just pinch this together. Remember the part that we left off the gooey ingredients so we could seal it. Just want to make sure these are all pinched together. Okay, this looks great. Like, see, some thicker than others. That's fine. It's going to work out. So it's hard to get it all uniform. Only professional pastry chefs can seem to do that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and slice these up into inch slices, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in a greased baking sheet. So let me wipe this up real quick. I'll be right back and we'll get that going. I just want to get this off this area here where the flour is. So I have 3 of the 9x13 baking dishes. Went ahead and sprayed those with some non-cooking spray. Non-sticking spray, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if you guys can see this. Let me see right here. Let me see. Hold on a second. Make sure you guys can see this. Oh, you can see the whole thing. Okay. So this end, I'm going to go ahead. It's not done. Looks so pretty. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. I have a serrated blade. And that makes it super easy. So I'm going to be real gentle with it. I don't have a cutting board underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1-inch slices and then go ahead and just put it in. Now these are going to rise again, so you don't want them to be too crowded in the pan. So we'll let them rise. Like I said, it's okay if some are smaller and some are bigger. You know, somebody wants a smaller one, someone wants a bigger one. Don't worry about these leftovers here. We'll sprinkle them on top. Whatever's left over, we'll sprinkle on top once we get everything in the pans. All right, there is 12 in the pan. Look how pretty. And like I said, don't worry about that. There's a smaller one here because they're going to rise and they'll you know, squeeze each other around. So I'm going to go ahead and continue these, and I'm going to go ahead and make the other half of the dough, and then I will be back and show you what we do next. Okay, so I just finished the second batch of dough, and I rolled them all out, and I'm so excited because I actually got 3 large pans of cinnamon rolls. This does make a big batch. You can definitely half it if you wanted to, but you may as well just go ahead and make them and give them as gifts. I mean, who wouldn't want some of these waiting for them Christmas morning? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let these rise. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place them on my stove. I have it preheated to 375, so the heat from the stove is going to help them rise. I'm going to just put a clean cloth over top of them. Then once that's done, they're going to go into the oven for about 17 minutes. When they are done, I will bring you back and I will show you what they look like. But also in the meantime, stay with me because I'm going to show you how to make the icing that we're going to pour on top of those. So they're going to rise, go in the oven. Once they're in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we make the icing. So I just want to share with you what they look like as they've been sitting here rising. So they've been sitting here for about 40 minutes, and you can tell that they've definitely gotten bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven now for 17 minutes. And then while they are in the oven, I'm going to show you how to make the icing. So stay tuned. So while the cinnamon rolls are in the oven, I'm going to show you how to make the icing. So in this bowl, and I'd like to use one that has a spout. That way it's easy to pour over top of the cinnamon rolls when they come out of the oven. In here is a 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. It's one of those big ones. I'm going to add into this 2 teaspoons of maple extract. Okay. So that goes in, as well as a 1/2 cup of milk. This is whole milk. Use whatever you have. 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. You always need salt in sweet things. It counters the sweetness. 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. So it's a 1/2 stick of melted butter. And then I also have some black coffee, so just some fresh brewed black coffee. And I think it works better if it's hot. So I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup to start. And we'll go from there. See if we need a little bit more, depending upon the consistency. We want this to be thick, but we want it to be pourable. So thick, but pourable. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going. It's amazing how powdered sugar melts. And it's so good with the coffee and the maple. It just tastes like breakfast. It doesn't have a strong coffee taste. It's just one of those things that you're kind of like, what is that? It's a little bit of coffee in there. I know some friends don't like coffee. Okay. So it's thick, but it's pourable. You see how it's... And when it hits the hot cinnamon rolls, when they come out of the oven. So these gorgeous cinnamon rolls just came out of the oven, and I actually left them in there for a couple more minutes. So they were in there maybe about 20 minutes. And look how beautiful they look. So we want to, as soon as they come out, we want to go ahead and put the icing on it immediately. So since I have 3 pans, I'm going to try and guesstimate about a third of this. And you want to do it while it's hot so that the icing can melt down into the cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to go ahead and just push it on out. They're already starting to melt. I can hear it sizzling. Oh my goodness. These are amazing. I do not make these often. This is a special treat. This is definitely not something that you want to eat while you're trying to watch what you're eating. Just close your eyes when you're eating this. So anyway, and there you go. Are those delicious? Don't they look delicious, I should say. I hope you give these a try. They're not hard at all, as you saw. It just takes some steps and takes some patience. But if you can plan it out, you can do it over a couple of days. These make a wonderful, wonderful gift. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to package some of these up and deliver them to some of my dear friends that have been so supportive of me with my new YouTube channel. And we don't have a red sleigh, but we have a red truck, because our red truck's going to be making these deliveries later today. So I hope you all take good care, and I hope, I'm going to take one out. Let's take one out and show you what they look like. I just thought of that. That way you can get a close-up of exactly what they're supposed to look like. They're hot, so if you do this now, be careful. Actually, the longer they sit, the better they are, because everything gets absorbed. But look. Oh. Go ahead and break into it so y'all can see it. Oh my goodness. Look. So good. Let me know if you try these. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I love to see your comments and questions all the time. So hope you all take good care, and I will be seeing you soon.